Hi, I'm Jully Senteu. I am a chemical engineer. I'm a Maasai. I am a conservationist, and I'm passionate about changing the world and making it a better place for all of us. So I was born in Nakuru County, in Nakuru town. My parents are from Narok, so I grew up in a normal household. It was somewhat urban. I went to primary school, I went to high school, and right before you sit for the national exams, I looked at this piece of paper, and you needed to pick your top three universities that you'd like to go to, assuming you qualified. And I saw chemical engineering. And I thought that made sense because I love chemistry and I love math, so I was going to be a chemical engineer. Then I went home and announced it to my parents, who looked at me a bit strange because, yeah, I'm not quite sure very many people even now know what chemical engineers do. Um, but I just wanted to do that, so I made my intentions known, and I was admitted to the program, which was a twinning program. So you do some courses here, and then you do your engineering courses in the U.S. The partner university, I went to Western Michigan University. In Kenya, they partnered with Egerton University, which is also in Nakuru. Long story short, I landed in Michigan September of 2007. I graduated with a degree in chemical engineering in 2010. That's kind of where I dipped my foot into fast water. So I came back home. Again, I went to Egerton University. I hadn't gotten a job after a couple of weeks. So I thought, hey, go and get a master's in environmental science or business management or something so that I'm a bit more employable. I'm not this person who studied something that nobody can relate to. Is my master's in limnology and wetland management. So I studied chemical engineering, then I studied limnology. At this point, no one knows what limnology is. It's a fancy word for fresh water, lakes, rivers, drinking water, all of that. Took part in the process in the program. We went to Austria first, then those 3 months in Austria, 3 months in Kenya, 3 months in the Netherlands, and then 6 months to do your concept, to your proposal, and get your degree. So again, did that, graduated, came home. There was a new project in the Mara Serengeti Sustainable Water Initiative, which was hosted by UNESCO IHE, which was part of the one of the universities that hosted my program. And a component of it was designing water treatment systems in the Mara Serengeti ecosystem. So I get my dream job then, which was going around the Mara and advising different organizations and institutes and hotels on how to treat water so that we stop polluting Mara River, which of course from Kenya to Tanzania, Mara wetland, all of that. So I did that for 2 years, and that's how I stumbled into conservation. So in 2017, I ended up working for the county government. I was director of environment and natural resources. Again, I worked there for 2 years, met amazing people, tried to understand how policies work with science. And one of the challenges that we had, especially as directors, is with the county governments that are fairly new, we needed to come up with policies. Now the challenge was I knew there was information, for example, on the Mara River. It's been studied so many times, but you couldn't get a hold of it so that it informs your policies. So in that mix, I was like, maybe we need to have some type of data centralization or collation system. Unbeknownst to me, many people had also thought about it, especially in the Mara, because it's, biodiversity, world. It's well renowned. There's an eighth wonder, the wilderness migration. So there's so many things that come together. Indigenous people. So there's so many things that come together, but somehow we weren't speaking to each other. So you had somebody just studying about cows down there, or just women, but it wasn't speaking to, like, there was nothing linking them. So we ended up with not a lot of money being invested, but it's not translating into change. So 2 years later, end of 2019, I resigned from my job with no clear plan. But in May, that was end of 2019, and March April of 2020, another group had been thinking about, hey, can we collate all of the research information from this ecosystem and use that for policies? So again, I landed my favorite job at that point as coordinator. So the organization, the coordination arm is called the One Mara Research Hub, and the idea is to bring scientists together and figure out, I like to say, so what? Yeah, so I started running the hub, and then in the process, met amazing women, people who, not just because they're Maasai or just because they get that quota, it's because they're amazing human beings. And so just interacting and coming back home, traveled the world, came back home, literally to the Mara. It's the most beautiful place. I think heaven looks something like this. But I got to work here, and in the process realize that it's not every day that you have girls saying they want to be engineers, or it's not every day they get to go like, let me try it and fail and then come back. I've also learned how important it is from the different experiences, who you talk to, the connections that you form. That's what builds up in the long run. I also really, really appreciate kind human beings, because that's what makes us human. So my number one rule on who I work with for anything is, are they kind? And that's usually a good indicator of what success will look like, and not just economic success or financial success or even academic success. It's success at living, being able to smile and see the sunset, but then also understand how rays work and physics and sunrise, sunset, and climate change and carbon, but also just have that part of your heart that is like a child. You're always ready. You're learning and leading at the same time. You're showing people that you're trying to provide some type of expert opinion, but then in the process you're always continuously learning, and you can learn from anywhere, from anyone, at any time. I once read this, so it's not original, but I think the things that make us extraordinary is the ordinary things we do. So one of the themes in my life from the story, and now looking back, I can see it very clearly, is I was intentional about doing things that I was passionate about and doing my best. I didn't have a plan. If you ever mentioned that I would be living in the Mara 15 years after I graduated and doing this, I would have laughed out loud, because I didn't dream. I mean, I love conservation. I love going on game drives. I love nature, but I just didn't see a connection between chemical engineering and conservation. Yet somehow I get to live out all of those dreams just because I was intentional and passionate. So what would I say to that young girl is, you might not be able to do everything, but you can do something, and that something, which might be very small, if you keep doing that in whatever space. So it's not the same thing, but it's, am I passionate? Do I really want to do this? Why do I want to study it? And you don't need a complex answer. For me, for the longest time, chemical engineering was, I like chemistry, I like math, chemical engineering, very basic thinking. I didn't have a profound, at 7, I knew what I wanted to do. It was just, this is what I like. And I've always had people and the privilege of going like, at least try and fail. Then you'll come back and try something else. And in the process, you're like, these failures or disconnections make for a beautiful story. So just get it done. Part of the advice for girls and women is, we are our strongest superpower, but we work against ourselves sometimes. So just remembering that the person who will resonate with you the most is that woman in the room, and we don't have just one spot at the table. We can have 90% of the spots, but we need to be pillars of strength, so that you're just not a picture of what success looks like, but you're a pillar that others can build on. And when you have so many pillars like we have around us right now, then it comes together, and you have something that is stronger, better, and you literally are able to change the world just from being women and supporting each other. she's brilliant, she's smart, she's beautiful, she's strong, she's resilient, she's young at heart. She can climb walls and fly planes and make meals but enjoy them. She's loving. She's a sister, a daughter, a mother, a wife, a leader. Um, yeah, I mean, she's brilliant.